Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. My name is Shantanu Rana, and today I will be taking this session on tips to land your next job. I understand that a lot of you are freshers or maybe you have very little experience. So, how exactly you can go into the corporate world, how exactly you can crack your first job, your dream job. We will be talking everything related to that. We will be understanding what are the secrets behind that, how can you design your resume, what are the interview etiquette, what are the must have skills that you should definitely learn. We'll talk about each and everything, but before that I just need a quick confirmation in the chat box whether I'm clearly audible, my voice is clear or not, my screen is visible to all of you or not. Please let me know in the chat box by writing yes or no. So if I am clear, my voice is clear, please write yes, otherwise write no in the chat box, and then we will be starting off with this session. All right, I see a lot of people are saying hi, sir, namaste. Yes, hi, hello, everybody. Namaste, everyone. I see. All right, so please write yes or no to just confirm whether my screen is visible or not. Yes. Okay. Okay. Pramod is saying voice is clear. Vinayak is again saying yes. Hello, everyone. Great. Thank you so much for confirming. Right. So we'll just start with this session. This is the kind of energy actually I want throughout this session. So use the chat box properly. Whatever doubts you have, whatever something that is not clear to you, you want any clarity on that, just put it in the chat box, and we will be taking all those queries throughout this session. Or at the end, we will just spare some extra 15 10 15 minutes, and we will take all your questions. But throughout this session, if you have any queries, you want to share your opinion, anything, put it in the chat box. I'll be having a look at it throughout, and we will be discussing all those things. So in this particular session, these are the things that we are going to discuss today. We will be starting with this concept called Ikigai. Till the time I tell you about the agenda, please let me know in the chat box if any one of you know that what exactly Ikigai is. If you understand the meaning of Ikigai, put it in the chat box, otherwise we'll just start. And then second thing we will be talking about is effective resume building. So whatever you have done in your life, in your professional journey, you have been to college, you have got good marks, good grades, everything is done. Your internships, work experience, at the end of the day, what you had to do is you had to put everything on a piece of paper or on 1 or 2 pages of a PDF, and you have to send it across. And based upon that, the recruiter or the hiring manager will select your profile. So definitely this 1 or 2 papers is extremely important from a point of view of getting your first job. So how to build an effective resume, an eye-catching resume, that is also something which is very important, and we will be talking about that. Then interview etiquette, that what exactly you should do before the interview, how exactly you should prepare, you should do research for your company, and then what you should do in the beginning of the interview, during the interview, and finally at the end of the interview. We will be discussing about the interview etiquette. Then common interview questions. So there are a few questions like tell me something about yourself, or maybe about your strengths and weaknesses, why do you want to get this job, why should we hire you, salary expectation. These are some common questions which are asked in all the job profiles, be it management or be it technical. These are very common typical questions which are asked everywhere. Now how exactly you can answer these questions, that is also something we will be discussing in this particular session. And the last but not the least is must have skills, where we will be talking about that whatever you the field that you're going into, maybe technical, maybe management, maybe data jobs, anything, but there are a few skills that you should definitely know when you are going into the corporate world. Now what are those skills and how exactly you can learn those skills, we will be talking about that as well. So these are the 5 topics we will be discussing: Ikigai, effective resume building, interview etiquette, common interview questions and how to answer them, and must have skills for your resume. Now till then, if you guys have any question, any queries, write it. Also I have asked you one thing, that what is the meaning of the term Ikigai. If you know that, put it in the chat box. And that is our first topic. We will be talking about Ikigai. So I see there's this one person called Learner. He has written that Ikigai is a Japanese term. You are right, but what I'm asking is what exactly is the meaning of this term? You are right that Ikigai is actually a Japanese concept. It's a Japanese term, and the meaning of Ikigai is reason for being. See, when you are thinking about a job, when you are thinking about a career opportunity, you are thinking about getting into one field, how exactly you should make that decision? Can you just think about salary and go for one thing? Not really. Can you just think about growth opportunities and go for one thing? Not really. It should be a combination of a lot of things. You have to consider the salary, you have to consider the growth and opportunity in that field, you also have to consider the job satisfaction, you also have to consider the brand value. All these things should combine, and then you should make an informed decision about your career choices. Right, so Ikigai will help you figure that out. Now, Ikigai is actually a Japanese concept, and the meaning of this term is a reason for being. Now, when you talk about Ikigai, when speaking of Ikigai, perhaps the most essential component of a purposeful life is your passion, and passion is the basis for finding your dream job. But is passion enough? Not really. Just think about the situation. What if your passion does not translate into your skill set? What do I mean when I'm talking about Ikigai? What do I mean when I'm telling you all this? Let's say you want to get into data science. That's your passion. You really want to go there. You really want to, become a data scientist. But what if you do not have the skill set for that? So first of all, you'll have to do your homework, you'll have to do your research, you'll have to figure out what is the career that you want, why do you want that career, what exactly you are looking forward to in that particular career, and then you will be able to make a informed decision. If you'll randomly choose one career and you'll go about it just because you are passionate about it, maybe you will not be able to do well in that. Because what if your passion does not translate into your skill set? You should have both these things for a better career choice, that is the skill set as well as the passion. One without the other may result in something which is not so great. So you have to make sure that if you are going into one particular career, you have the passion for it and you are developing the skill set for it. Then only that career will eventually become a great career choice for you. Now, Ikigai can help you find out that particular career for you, which will align with your personality, which will align with your professional journey overall. So this is actually what Ikigai is all about. The meaning is reason for being, but if you understand this basic visual representation, you will understand what Ikigai is. But finding your Ikigai is not that easy. Finding your Ikigai can take years and years and ages and ages. It's a very, very complex process, but if you can find your Ikigai, you will eventually lead a very happy life because you will understand that what exactly do you want, how do you want it, and how exactly you can get a career out of it. That's one part of it, which is the profession part. So in Ikigai, how exactly you can try to find what your Ikigai is, or you can be closer to finding your Ikigai is, write these four things on a piece of paper. Just take a piece of paper or just take an Excel sheet and make four columns. Number one, what you love, then what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at. These should be the four things. Now, what you love can be different from what the world needs. It can be different from what you can be paid for and what you are good at. So generally, a lot of people have this confusion. They think that what they love is exactly what they are good at. But that's actually not the case. For example, what you love, maybe you love organizing things, maybe you love sketching, maybe you love writing, maybe you love reading, anything. That can be anything. But are you really good at that? You have to compare your ideal self with your real self, and then you have to realize all these things. First, make a column, write all the things that you feel you love, then write all the things that you feel you are good at. Maybe you are good at communication, maybe you are good at making presentations. It can be as simple as that. Maybe you are good at sketching, or maybe you are good at things like attention to details. Maybe you are very good at something else. Write all those things that you feel you are good at, then write what you can be paid for. What exactly is that that the world can pay you for? Nobody is going to pay you for just one simple thing that you have. How exactly you can make a career out of it? That is something we will have to think about. So write all the things that you feel you can be paid for. For example, if you can write, the world can pay you for that. If you can sketch, the world can pay you for that. Write all the things that you feel the world can pay you. Then what the world needs? What exactly is that that the world needs? For example, compassion, for example, active listening. Write all the things that you feel the world needs. Maybe you possess those things, or maybe you don't, but just write it as of now. Then try to find out the intersection between these various areas. Now, what you love and what you are good at, the intersection between these two is nothing but your passion. And what you love and what the world needs, the intersection between these two is nothing but your mission. Now, what is your profession which is actually aligned with your career? To find your career, you should know what you are good at and what you can be paid for. And the intersection between those two things is nothing but your profession. Now, that's exactly you get closer to finding your Ikigai. That's the whole concept of Ikigai. So I would really recommend all of you to understand more about this particular concept called Ikigai. If you love reading books, you can actually buy a book which is named as Ikigai, which is a Japanese concept. It's written by, I think, Hector Garcia. You can buy this book and you can start reading it. It's a small book. I just finished it a few days back. And then it will help you in finding your career, finding your profession, and overall to lead a happy life, in which career will be one thing and other things will also play an important role, definitely. So that's the first secret to getting your job. Understand yourself. Self awareness is the first step. Get to know what you really like, what you don't like, what you can be paid for. You'll have a better understanding, better picture of your own personality, and then you'll be able to make a better career choice. So that's your secret number one. That's your tip number one. You need to understand about Ikigai. Till now, if you guys have any queries, any doubts, please put it in the chat box, and then we'll move forward to the second part, which is again effective resume building. As I already told you, whatever you have done in your professional journey, you have done any courses, internships, work experience, anything you have, eventually you have to write everything on a piece of paper and you have to give it to the recruiter. And based upon that piece of paper or PDF, they will make a decision whether you'll get the job or not, whether you'll get the chance for the interview or not. So a resume is extremely important. Now, how exactly you can make sure that your resume is effective? It is eye-catching. You are using everything which is required. You are using all the essentials of resume. How exactly you will make sure that that is something we will be covering in this particular section. Before that, if you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box. Okay, somebody is asking me about ethical hacking and you want to understand more about it. So I'd simply suggest you one thing. On Google, type Great Learning Academy, or just simply go to the website mygreatlearning.com, and you will land up on our Great Learning Academy slash academy, mygreatlearning.com slash academy, and the links will be shared for that in the chat box as well. Go to that website, type ethical hacking, and there are so many courses that we have on ethical hacking. You can start learning from there. We also have fields like career in ethical hacking, where you will be able to understand the roadmap for that particular career as well. Hope that will help you out. So please go to my Great Learning Academy, my Great Learning Academy. Simply type it on any search engine like Google, or just go to mygreatlearning.com slash academy. The link for that will be shared in the chat box as well. Okay, somebody is asking me, sir, I learn mechanical engineering, but I want to go for IT sector. How to get ready? Resume. So what I understand from this question is, Pramod, you really want me to explain that how exactly you can switch your career from mechanical engineering to IT. So Pramod, there's no like hard and fast rule for that. The very simple thing is you have to learn the skills which are required in IT sector. To learn those skills, you can again go to Great Learning Academy, start exploring different courses, start attending some coding boot camps, and you will have a better picture of what you really like, and then you can go in that domain. Because IT sector is not small. There are so many things. Maybe you want to get into data science, maybe you want to get into cloud, maybe you want to get into product management. There are so many fields. Full stack development, in that also we have front end, back end, database. So many things are there. Now you have to figure out what is that you really like, and then eventually you can go in that field. So I would really suggest you to go to Great Learning Academy, start exploring those courses. You will have a better understanding of what you really like and what are the different careers that are there in these different domains, and then you can make a more informed decision. Hope that helps you. Right. So moving forward, now let's talk about resume building. So first of all, what are the essentials of an effective resume? Certain things that you should definitely keep in your mind. Number one, tailored for each job. Whatever resume you are building, that should be tailored for a particular job. You cannot have one resume and send it to all the companies, all the different profiles. It should be tailored made for each and every job. If you are applying to 10 different companies for 10 different profiles, you should every time you should modify your resume and then you have to send it, because each and every company has different core values, different vision, different mission, and every job profile will also require a different kind of skill set, a different personality. So you have to align your resume with that skill set, with that core value of the company. That's why every time you send your resume to a company for a job profile, make sure you read the job description properly. You do the research about the company, you get to know what the company's core values are, mission is, vision is, and then based upon that you modify your resume and then send it. Then second is include numbers. Your resume should definitely include numbers that make it look more attractive. For example, let's say you have handled a team of sales, you have handled a sales team. Rather than writing that handled a sales team in your resume, you can write managed a sales team of 20 members. If you attach number to anything, that gives a better personality picture, that gives a better picture of what your professional journey is like and what exactly is the work that you were involved in. So if you will simply say that cracked a sales deal, that is one thing. But if you say cracked a sales deal of 6 figures, that attach more value to it. So make sure you include numbers wherever you can in your resume. Then include examples. When I say examples, you don't have to write examples for each and everything in your resume. Rather, you have to keep those examples ready in your mind. So even if you are writing that you are a smart worker, why do you think so? Do you have any example ready for that? You have to keep the justification ready in your mind, because once your resume is selected in the interview, they will be questioning you about each of the things that you have mentioned in your resume. So it's better if you have the justification ready for each and everything. If you have written, advanced Python, you should actually know it. Do not write anything in your resume that you do not possess, any skill that you do not possess. Because when the questions will be asked related to that, you will not be able to justify it. And if you will not be able to justify it, there are very high chances that it will leave a very negative impression on the recruiter or the hiring manager. So make sure whatever you are writing in your resume is authentic and you have a justification ready for that. Even if you are writing the simplest things, such as you feel you are organized or you are hardworking, you are smart working, or anything, it can be, let's say, Python, HTML, CSS. Now, why do you think so? Is there any project that you have done on that? Is there any internship that you have done on that? Have you done any course on that? Keep the justification examples ready in your mind. Then never forget the 4 C's of resume. Number one, it should be concise. That is, it should be precise. You don't have to write long stories, long essays. It should be very, very concise. Whatever you are writing should have a crux and it should be summarized in 1 or 2 lines, not more than that. Rather than writing that I was in this company, I did this, I did that, you can simply write in 2 bullet points that part of this company and you did this, whether that project was a success or a failure, just 2 lines about that. Keep your words very, very, say more things with few words. That's what concision is all about. Then correct, clean, and consistent. Whatever you are writing should be correct. Correct from the point of view of grammar, punctuation, as well as content wise. Then it should be clean. For example, right now, if you look at this slide, there are only 2 colors that I have used, blue and black. Just imagine if I use yellow color, green color, and randomly something is in 12 font, something is in different style written. I have written tailored for each job here, then concise here, clean here, and it looks very abrupt. You will not be able to comprehend the slide. You will not be able to understand what is written over there. That's why clarity is very, very important when you are designing your resume. So make sure whatever you are writing, you follow the same pattern. If you are, let's say following 12 font size, follow the same font size throughout. If you are keeping the heading in 14 font size, keep the same. If you are using the Calibri font, keep the same. If you are using Vedana font, throughout you need to follow the same. Don't use these funky colors such as yellow, green, random colors. Keep it very simple. Either you can keep the entire resume in black fonts, or you can use 2 colors, one for heading and one for the content. And then last C is your consistent, that whatever you are writing should be consistent. Let's say whatever margin you are leaving in the left hand side, same margin you should leave on the right hand side of the paper. Whatever heading size is there in the beginning, same should be the heading size at the end of the resume as well. So it should be very consistent, because if somebody looks at your resume, they should get a picture of your personality. They should clearly understand that, okay, this is your education section, this is the key skills that you have, these are the internships and work experience that you have, these are the languages that you know. Each and everything should look very clean on that piece of paper or on that PDF. If it will be very cluttered and you are using random colors or random font size, nobody will be able to understand it and simply they will reject it. So never forget the 4 C's of resume. That is, it should be concise, it should be correct, clean, and it should be very, very consistent. Then this second last is relevant. Whatever you are writing on your resume should be relevant. If you are applying for a software engineer role, there's no point of saying that you are very good with editing images. But if you are applying for a video editor role, then it will be a good thing to say that you are very good at editing images. Maybe you know some software related to that as well. So always make sure what is the job that you are applying to. Whatever skills you are writing, whatever work experience you are writing should be relevant to that particular job profile. The job description of a software engineer is very different. The job description for a role in management is very different. For a role in data science will be very different. So make sure you understand the job description, you understand the requirement of the job vacancy, and based upon that you write the skills or the experience in your resume. It should be relevant to the company, it should be relevant to the job profile that you are applying to. And your resume should not be more than 2 pages. Preferably it should be 1 page, but you can maximum go up to 2 pages, not more than that. Now these are certain essentials of an effective resume, and these are the components of an effective resume. So number one thing, like what are the things that you should mention in your resume? I see a lot of people, they mention about, what's their father's name, their father's occupation. Those things are actually not at all required when we are talking about your resume, because that is not relevant for the company or for the job profile. So make sure whatever you're writing is relevant, and that's why you can use these things when you are designing your resume. Number one is personal details. You should write your full name, your phone number, your email ID, and your LinkedIn URL. That's it. If you are applying for a technical role, you can add the GitHub link or the Kaggle link, all those things as well. But eventually there should not be more than 4 things. That is your full name, email ID, phone number, and your LinkedIn URL. No need to add your address, because if they need to ask you your address, they can simply call you or drop your email. You don't need to write your marital status, or maybe the father's name, father's occupation. Those things are not at all necessary. Just simply write your full name, email address, phone number, and the LinkedIn URL and the GitHub link and anything if you have anything like that. And if they need to ask you anything else, they can simply call you, the recruiter can call you or drop you an email that you have mentioned in your resume, and they can get in touch with you. Then profile summary, some people call it as career objective as well, but profile summary is a better word, because there is a difference between job and career. So make sure you go for the word profile summary, and then you write in that very simply what are the skills or the strengths that you have. You can also write why do you really want a job. Make it very, very personalized for the hiring manager, and then highlight or showcase your strengths and skills in this particular area. Then write about your education, key skills. Now in key skills you can write your employability skills, that what are the softwares you know, what are the languages you know. You can also write about your knowledge based skills or your personality traits. Let's say you're very hardworking, you are very organized, your time management skills are good, you are an excellent communicator, you know public speaking. So those things also you can mention in key skills. Make sure it's a combination of employability skills, your key skills as in your personality traits, and as well as your knowledge based skills, such as let's say you know 3 languages, you know Hindi, English, Telugu, or maybe you know Spanish, you know German. All those things you can mention in your key skills as knowledge based skills. Then internships and work experience, if you have done any internships, any work experience, you can mention over there. Then projects, trainings, and certificates. For example, if you have done a few certifications from Great Learning Academy, you can mention those things in your resume as well. Then extracurricular activities and positions of responsibilities, here you can add those things as well. If you have worked for any NGO, you have done any online internship which was not very related to the field, but you still want to highlight it in your resume, you can mention those things under extracurricular activities and positions of responsibility. Then achievements, if you have won any scholarship, if you have got any award from your previous company, or in your college you were in the top 5 students of your class, you can mention all those things in your achievements or accomplishments. And then finally additional information, here you can talk about a specific interest that you have, or maybe the languages that you know, but it's again optional. If you want to mention it you can, otherwise you can skip it as well. Till now, if you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box. Otherwise we'll just move forward and we'll learn about interview etiquette. Okay, somebody is asking me how to ensure job interview call even after having eye-catching CV. See, when you talk about getting a call for the interview, it's not just resume which is important. Definitely, it is one very important thing. Whatever you write on your resume will definitely help you in getting the interview call. But eventually, what you write on your resume, whether you have the right skill set or not, That is also important. So if you have the right skill set and you are able to represent it by having an effective resume, definitely you will get a call. But if either of these two things is lacking, you will not get the call. Let's say you have the right skill set, you know all the languages, whatever is required in a particular field, but you do not know how to design your resume. Then there is no point of having those skills, because you will never be able to communicate the same to the recruiter through your resume. Similarly, if you know how to design your resume, you have done everything, you have used the correct font size, everything is perfect, it's very clean, consistent, but you do not have the required skill set, then also you won't get a call. So you should have a combination of two. You should have the skill set and you should also have the skills to showcase those skills. So that's the essential and the main component of it. Okay, Rahul Kumar is asking me. I am a mechanical engineer. I had 2 years of experience in mechanical. I have also some IT skills like Python, data analytics, data science. How should I make my resume? So, Rahul, this is the first thing that you should do. The very first step that you should start is, these are all very different domains. For example, if you know Python, if you know data analytics, you know data science, maybe you want to go into data science, maybe you want to go into software engineer. First of all, you need to figure out what is the main area that you want to get into. For that, you can go to Great Learning Academy, start attending these free courses, different free courses that we have. Once you'll attend those courses, you will have a better picture that what exactly do you want. Once you are clear that this is what I want to become, let's say you choose full stack development or you choose data science, then you can go to LinkedIn, you can connect with people in that particular domain, you can download the job description from different companies, and then you can see what are the skills which are required in those areas. Then you can find the competency gap, that what are the skills that you have, what are the skills which are actually required in this field. Find that gap and start filling that gap by attending courses, by doing trainings and understanding that particular concept. Once that is done, then you can apply to jobs. For that, there's an offering by Great Learning also called Career Boost. If you go to Career Boost, you will find a lot of job opportunities in the field of business domain, technical domain, data jobs, and you can apply to those companies for free and eventually you can get your dream job. So that's how it works. Hope that will help you, Rahul Kumar. Okay, somebody is asking me about best portal to get a job. Pramod, I am not sure which one is the best or which one is not, but I really know one very good job portal, that is Career Boost. Just go to Great Learning and type Career Boost, Great Learning. You will be landing up on that page and you can see that there are different jobs that we provide on that platform, and you can apply to those companies for free for different job roles. Okay, somebody is saying very nice informative session, sir. Thank you so much for your feedback. So let's just move forward with this. Right? If you again have any queries, any doubts, please put it in the chat box and we will be taking those queries. Right? So now let's talk about interview etiquette. So in this we will be talking about four things: what you should do before the interview, what you should do beginning of the interview, what you should do during the interview, and what you should do at the end of the interview. So these things are also equally important when you are going for an interview, especially if the interview is face to face. These things are very important. Even if it is a virtual interview, then also these things are actually important and you have to pay attention to it. Because if you are a very good fit, you have all the skill set and everything, but your personality is not shown as the right fit for the company, the interviewer or the hiring manager will never hire you. So you have to make sure you have the interview etiquette as well in order to land your dream job. So the first thing, let's talk about what you should do before the interview. First thing, timing. Never be late and don't be too early. Why not to be too early? Because if you will be too early, that means you are simply wasting your time and you will become more and more nervous. So don't be too early, rather spend that time in learning something new, and never be late. Be at your best behavior, treat everyone and everything with respect. Even if you are talking with a coordinator for the interview, make sure you talk to them very politely and you are at your best behavior. Wait patiently, don't forget the required documents. Even if you have given your resume, make sure you have 2 3 copies of it, so that if they ask you to submit one copy, you can do that. And arrange each and every document in a very organized manner. Keep all your educational document in one go, keep all your work experience documents in one set, and keep everything ready, so that if they ask you about any documents, you can simply provide them without being cluttered. Then keep mobile phone on silent mode. That is again very simple thing that you should definitely keep in mind. Don't talk loudly on phone outside. Don't fidget with your things, because if you fidget with your things, psychologically you will be very nervous eventually, and there are chances you will freeze in front of the interviewer, and definitely we do not want that. So make sure you do not fidget your things, and then you simply go and confidently you give the answers to the questions of the interviewer. Don't keep strolling around, because you will simply lose your energy. Rather, be on time, don't be late at all, and never be too early as well. Rather, spend that time in doing the research about the company or learning something new. Be at your best behavior, treat everyone with respect, keep your documents ready, keep the copy of the resume ready, keep all your educational work experience documents ready in a reverse chronological order, and then keep your mobile phone on silent and go with confidence. That's what you do before the interview. Now, in the beginning of the interview, always knock. And if it's a virtual interview, let's say it's an online meeting, then what you should do is you should always ask. For example, when I started this live session, I asked you whether I'm clearly audible or not, whether I'm visible or not. Similarly, you should ask your interviewer, your hiring manager, whether you are clearly audible or not, whether you are visible or not, is your voice clear, and then you should start with the interview. So that's called the knocking of the virtual interview. And if it's a face-to-face interview, definitely knock on the door and then ask for permission and go inside. Enter confidently, keep a smile on your face and a likable expression. Formal greeting or handshake, you can either say good morning, good evening, depending upon the time, or you can simply handshake. Then wait for interviewer's signal to sit. Don't simply just go and simply sit there. That's not a great idea. Always ask that shall I please sit? Keep your documents on one side and then sit. And then have a sit. Then keep your bag aside and necessary documents on lap or table. Always make sure, a lot of people they go with bottle, bag and everything, and as soon as they enter the room, they keep everything on the table. Again, that's not a very good thing. If you have a bottle, bag, any documents, everything with you, always ask for the permission. Ask them that can I please keep it on the table, and then keep it on the table. Always make sure you do not carry unnecessary thing to the interview room. Always carry the documents which are necessary, nothing else. Always keep some plain papers as well, so that if they ask you any puzzle, any case study, you can solve that on the paper and then give it to them. Now, during the interview, one very important thing which is a part of communication is active listening. Listen to everything actively. If you won't listen, you will never be able to comprehend, and you will never be able to provide a good answer. So listen carefully, nod while listening to show that it's a two-way street and you are actually paying attention. Be focused, relevant and precise. Don't start telling them something which is not relevant, or which is not really related to the question. Whatever they ask, give answer to that. If they are talking to you casually, they are asking you about your life or something related to that, then you can go a little bit casual, but always make sure you do not eat up their time. Be very precise while you are answering. Don't overstep on interviewers words. If they are talking, let them finish and then provide your insights. Smile from time to time. Ask for time politely if required. Let's say they have asked you a question and you are not sure about it, you need to think about it. Rather than saying and taking random breaks, you can take a silent break and you can simply tell them that can I please take a moment and then answer this question. Or you can simply ask them that can I recollect my thoughts and then answer. Take some time. Rather than doing take 1.5 minutes and then you can start answering. Politely ask to repeat a question if not understood. It's not a great idea to assume the question and then start answering. Listen actively, and especially if it's a virtual interview, there are high chances that sometimes because of the internet glitch or anything, you will not be able to understand one sentence or one question. Don't just assume and start answering. Always say that I could not hear you, can you please repeat the question? Or you can simply say that pardon me, could you please repeat the question? Because of the internet glitch, if you couldn't hear anything, simply ask them to repeat rather than assuming and then start answering. Because there are chances that your assumption is wrong and you will start answering something which is not relevant to the question. So these are certain things that you should keep in your mind during the interview. Then last but not the least is end of the interview. Don't breathe a sigh of relief. So a lot of people, what they do as soon as the interview ends is they do this. which is a sigh of relief. You should definitely not do that. That simply shows that you are not very confident and you are too nervous for the interview. So always make sure that as soon as the interview ends, you thank the interviewer for the opportunity, you show interest in the job and the organization, you smile, close the door, and if it's a virtual interview, you end the meeting, and then you breathe a sigh of relief or do whatever you want to. A lot of people in face-to-face interviews, what they do is as soon as they get up from their chair, they start loosening their tie and start going out. But that's not a great way. Always, when the interview ends, end the meeting or smile and simply say, "Thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to your feedback." And then you can say, "I'm really interested in the job," and you can simply leave. And then you can loosen your tie or do whatever you want to. But while you are in the room or you are in the meeting, never breathe a sigh of relief and never show them any sign that you were not really interested in the interview. These are certain things that you should definitely keep in your mind when you are going for any interview, especially your first interview. This creates a good impression on the interviewer, the hiring manager. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the chat box. Okay, I would really request students to ask only relevant questions. I see a lot of questions which are very personal and are not really relevant for this session. So make sure, please ask only the relevant questions so that we do not end up wasting anybody's time, right? All right, so I don't see any questions. I hope that this everything as of now is clear to you. Now moving forward, let's talk about body language as well. Now body language is more powerful than words. Your body communicates just like your mouth. Don't contradict yourself. According to Dr. Albert Mehrabian, 7% of what you say depends upon your spoken words, 38% on your voice and tone, and 55% on your body language. So whenever I'm talking to you, for example, right now I'm talking to you, you see my hands, you see my gestures, you see my voice, you see my tone, and whatever I'm saying, you will interpret a meaning of that. Now that meaning you will be able to understand in a better way if my body language is correct. If you go to the interviewer and you tell them that you think you are very confident, and at the same time you are not even maintaining a eye contact with them, that simply means you are saying something but you are actually not that person, you are lying. That's not a good way. So make sure your body language is correct, because 55% of what you say depends upon your body language. Your body language is more powerful than the words that you say. Three things are very very important when you are going for any interview. Number one, clarity of thoughts. What is between your ears? The clear thoughts. Then clear words. What you are thinking should be the same thing on your tongue. Whatever you are saying should be interpreted in the same way. And third is your body language. So clarity of thoughts, clarity of words, and correct body language. Your gestures, your posture, everything should be correct, and then only you will be able to communicate effectively. And that's what effective communication is all about. For example, you go to the interviewer's room and you sit on the chair very uncomfortably. That simply shows that you are not confident. If you go, simply ask them, "Shall I please sit?" And then you sit by taking the entire surface of the chair. You do not slouch your shoulder in front or at the back. Keep them relaxed in the center. That simply shows that you are very very interested and you are actually confident about what you are doing. And that's exactly you should behave. So make sure you have the correct gesture posture while you are sitting for the interview. Then a few common interview questions. Now there are a few questions that are asked in all the interviews, and we will definitely talk about that as well. So I see Pramod is asking me, "Sir, how to improve communication skills?" Promote communication skills, you cannot do that in like one night. Simply you have to make it a process. Every day give some time to it. Maybe you need to work on your pronunciation, you can work on that. Maybe you need to work on vocabulary, you can work on that. But to start with, you can go to Great Learning Academy, start doing a few courses. For example, on our YouTube channel as well, there's one course called Learn Business English. Start learning from there, and then you can eventually see where exactly you are lacking, and you can pick up those things. So but make it a part of your day-to-day routine. Don't think that one day you will sit for 6 hours and you will be an effective communicator. That's not how it works. Every day give 15-20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time every day, and then within a month or 2 months you'll actually be able to see the difference. Hope that helps you. Now Tushar is asking me how to introduce yourself. Tushar, definitely we are going to talk about that. That's actually the first question. That is, tell me something about yourself or introduce yourself. I'll be telling you how exactly we can answer this question. Now, if you are a part of any management interview or technical interview, there are a few questions which are asked in all these interviews. For example, tell me something about yourself, strengths and weaknesses, about your salary expectations. So these are common in all the interviews. How exactly you should answer to these questions? Number one, tell me something about yourself. So in this particular question, again, never talk about anything which is irrelevant. Don't talk about your parents, their occupation, your brother, what your brother is doing. Only talk about the things which really matter. Talk about yourself, talk about your education, talk about your work experience, talk about your skills and your strengths. Also talk about a specific interest that you have. For example, you can simply start with that my name is this and I belong to this area, or I currently I stay in Bangalore. Like that, you can talk about it. Once you have told them about your name and your location, then you can start with your educational background, where you had done your graduation or post graduation from. If you were in the top 5 students, top 10 students, you can mention that as well. Then you can mention the skills that you have. Maybe you know Python, HTML, CSS, Java, anything. It can be time management skills, communication skills, depending upon the job. Find the skills, mention those skills. Also try to mention why do you really want this job. Tell them that you have done your research for the company and you are really interested in this project that the company is involved in right now, and you would really love to be a part of that kind of project or that kind of company. If you can talk anything about the culture of the company, you can mention that as well. So that's how you answer your tell me something about yourself. Your name, your location, then your educational background, your internships or any work experience that you have. What are the learnings from that work experience? If you have won any scholarship, any awards, mention that. Your strengths, how many languages do you know? That can be one strength. What are the languages, technical languages you know? Any soft skills, any hard skills that you have? Mention those things. Make sure you sell yourself through this question. Because what you answer to tell me something about yourself, the next set of questions will depend upon that answer. So make sure you set the right tone for the interview by preparing a good answer to this particular question, which involves relevant things about the company, about your professional journey. Then strengths and weaknesses. So strengths, you can again talk about your employability skills, your personality traits, or your knowledge based skills. But in weaknesses, whatever you mention, never go too extreme. Don't say that you are an introvert, you are an extrovert. Never say those things. Always read the core values of the company. Whatever is there in the core values of the company, never show it as your weakness. So let's say the core value of a company XYZ Private Limited is teamwork, but you go to the interviewer and you tell them that you are not actually a team worker, you like to work alone. Definitely that's a big no-no. Work on that skill, but at the same time never mention anything as your weakness if that's the part of the company's core value. And whenever you talk about your weakness, always talk about how you are trying to overcome that. For example, if you ask me that what is my weakness, I can say that I am a perfectionist, and that's why I always take a lot of time to do simple things, because I always try to make it more and more perfect, and that's why sometimes I miss my deadlines, but I'm trying to work on it. Recently I took a course from Great Learning Academy on time management, and I'm learning more and more about it so that I don't let the perfect be the enemy of my good. That's how you can answer such questions. First, answer your weakness. It should not be very extreme. Then say how you are trying to overcome it. Then short term and long term career goals. There's only one thing that you should keep in your mind. Your short term goals should be aligned with your long term goals, and these things should be aligned with the goals of the company. If you go to a company and you tell them, let's say you are applying to an educational technology company, a tech company, and you go there and you tell them that you don't really care about education, definitely that's not a good thing, because the company do care about education, the company do care about technology, so you have to care about it. Otherwise you are at a wrong place. So make sure you align your short-term goals with your long-term goals, and those goals with the goals of the company. So if you are saying that within next 5 years I want to become a software engineer, and in next 10 years I want to become a content writer, that makes no sense. Make sure your short term goals are relatable to your long term goals. If you are saying that in next 10 years I want to become a software engineer, then in next 15 years maybe you want to become a specialized field in that particular area. You can't say two random things as your short term and long term career goals. Then why do you want to work here? This question is to understand whether you have done your research about the company or not. When they ask you that why do you want to work here, You can talk about the culture of the company. You can talk about anything for which the company is in news recently. So let's say you are going for XYZ Private Limited. Always do your research about the company, understand what are the projects that the company is handling, what are the clients or the main customers of the company, what are the competition of the company, the culture of the company. Then talk about those things, that I want to work in this company because I really feel that the culture of the company is great and I would like to add value to that. I really feel that the company care about this particular cause, and even I do care about this cause. That's why my personal interests are aligned with the company's. And then you can start with that. Then why should we hire you? Here again, it's an opportunity for you to talk about your strengths, your skills, where you can say that maybe you have a particular technical language, any other soft skills that you have. You can mention all those things. Then what is your salary expectation? So when a question is asked about salary expectation, that does not mean that you got the job. Still you are in the interview, still the interviewer or the hiring manager is observing you. So never assume if the question is asked about salary that means you got the job. No, they are still observing you. And never give them one specific number, that I won't accept anything less than 9 lakhs per annum. I won't accept anything less than 12 lakhs per annum. That's not a good way. This question is to judge your negotiation skills. So always give them a range and show them that you are open to negotiation. You can say that I'm open to negotiation. I would like to consider the industry standards. Always do your research, that what are the industry standards, what are the other companies that are paying for this particular profile in the same industry. Get to know those things and then give them a range, that I would love to accept anything from 9 lakhs to 12 lakhs per annum, or I would like to go with the industry standards. Always mention that I'm open to negotiation. So that's how you answer these questions. If you have any queries, please again put it in the chat box. And now moving forward, let's talk about a few must have skills. Certain skills that you should definitely have, whatever the field you are applying to. In today's era, where because of COVID everything is online, there are a few skills in general also. Even if that's not the case, there are a few skills that everybody should know. Even if you are from a commerce background, science background, you are a fresher, you have experience, if you don't have those skills, make sure you go to Great Learning Academy, start learning all these skills. You should know basic programming. That's essential in today's world. You should know Excel. If not to the advanced level, you should at least know the formulas, functions, basic things, the essentials of Excel. Then creative problem solving, data analysis. We all understand that everything is data these days. Right now I'm taking this live session. We are generating tons of data. You are using your phone every day for Instagram, Snapchat. We are doing nothing but generating a lot of data. Now how can we use that data to find some good insights about the business, about the companies? That's what data analysis is. Now you should know what exactly data analysis is, how that works, what are the different tools for that. You should have a basic understanding of it. Email writing, which is a form of written communication, that should also be one thing that should be on the priority of your list. Because if you do not know how to write an email, definitely there will be a lot of issues that you will face in your companies. So you should clearly know what are email etiquette, how exactly you should design a mail, draft a mail. Then time management, collaboration or teamwork, public speaking, negotiation. When I say public speaking, that includes your presentation skills as well, how to give presentation. For example, there is one rule called 248 rule. In that, try to understand these things and enhance these skills. If you have any doubts about these skills, you want to learn these skills, you can go to Great Learning Academy, for which the link is already shared in the chat. Go to Great Learning Academy, and then there are different courses in all these different skills. You can learn those skills, get a certificate, and eventually you will be a master of these skills, and definitely you can mention it on your resume as well. So till now, this is the end of the session. If you have any questions, any queries, please put it in the chat box. I'd like to take all those queries, and then we'll wind up this session. Okay, Pramod is asking me about digital marketing. Again, Pramod, you can go to Great Learning Academy. You can learn digital marketing from there. We have courses on SEO, that is search engine optimization. We have courses on SEM, that is search engine marketing. We have courses on Google Analytics, YouTube marketing, Facebook Manager, all those things we have. You can go to Great Learning Academy and start learning more and more about it. Hope that helps you. Okay, Gokul is saying how to improve communication skills. I have already answered this question, Gokul Prasad, but again, since you have asked me, I would like to point it out that communication skill is not something that you can learn just with a course or just within, one day. You have to pay attention to it, spare some time in your day, every day, give some 30, 40 minutes, learn a course. Along with that, start practicing. Maybe you need to focus on your vocabulary, your pronunciation, maybe your writing skills. Get to know how to write an email, get to know how to give a presentation, and eventually you will be able to see the difference. But it's a simple process, but again, it's a time taking process. You cannot learn how to communicate just in one day. Two things are important: you should have clarity of thoughts and then clarity of words. Try to understand more and more concepts related to these things. Again, you can go to Great Learning Academy, and we have some wonderful courses on improving your communication skills. Personally, if you go to our YouTube channel as well and you type just how to improve public speaking, you will be able to understand a lot of concepts related to this. How to improve public speaking is one course which is recorded by me only. You can find it on our YouTube channel or on Great Learning Academy as well. Okay, Pramod, I am actually unable to understand your question. Can you please rephrase your question, put it in the chat box once again? I see there are no more questions as such. SA has asked me a question, but again, I'm unable to understand it. Which jobs position for MBA in IT after? Please rephrase these questions. I'll just wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll wind up this session. Okay, one relevant question I see here. Somebody is asking me, can we add all these must-have skills to our resume? You cannot. You should not add random skills to your resume. When you add skills, that should be relevant. Do you really know that? If you think you know these skills, then you should add it in your resume. Otherwise, you should learn and then add. When I'm saying must-have skills, that does not mean that you should add it on your resume whether you know it or not. Must-have skills means you have to learn these skills in this today's era. These skills are very very important, so better you learn these skills and then add it to your resume. If you'll add random skills to your resume and the interviewer will ask you to justify it, you will not be able to do that, and that will leave a very negative impression, and eventually your application will be rejected for sure. So make sure first you learn and then you add it to your resume. Okay, Pramod is saying I have learned a lot of irrelevant multiple courses in different domains. So Pramod, if you have learned, like, see, first of all, you need to figure out what is the domain you want to get into. Let's say you want to get into the technical field. Now, nothing will be irrelevant if you know HTML, CSS, whatever, whether it is required in your job profile or not. But you can again add all these languages that you know. It's always good. But the only thing that you should not add in your resume is something which is completely irrelevant. Let's say you are applying to a software engineer role and you write in your resume that you know a software which is very good for editing images. That makes no sense because that is not required in the job at all. So if something is there which is required, even to a 1% extent, you can mention those things, especially if you do not have a work experience. If you have a lot of work experience, then you don't need to add all the things which are even slightly relevant. You can only add things which are very very relevant for the job role. But if you do not have a lot of experience, you are still you are still a entry level or a fresher person, then you can definitely add all the skills that you feel are even 2-3% relevant to the particular job profile. Hope that helps you understand it. Right, so thank you so much everyone for attending this session. If you guys have any more queries, and we have these sessions every day, you can ask us, you can join other sessions and you can ask those queries once again. So we have these sessions every day, one session at 12 p.m. and one at 5 p.m. And we have already taken a lot of sessions. Again, I would request all of you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, attend different courses, different videos that we post there. Along with that, go to Great Learning Academy and start learning these skills, different skills, and eventually enhance your skill set. And then you can mention those things in your resume as well. Whatever courses we have on Great Learning Academy, you will be getting a free certificate for that as well. Thank you so much once again for attending this session. Have a nice good evening. Thank you, everybody.